So you got some movies coming out?
I got one movie coming out April 1st called Meet the Blacks.
Okay.
That's with Mike Epps and Mike Tyson and George Lopez, Charlie Murphy, Lavelle Crawford, Brisha Webb, King Batch. I liked it because they brought in a lot of funny people to be in the movie.
I met Mike Tyson once. Like, Mike Tyson just seemed a little different than most human beings.
Yeah, he definitely walks to the beat of his own drum.
Yeah. Like, I think I was, what was it? I was a mixtape DJ back then. And I remember, like, I had this project. And I'm like, oh, yo, Mike, I want you to check out my CD. He's like, oh, thank you. You did the CD? I said, yeah. The CD was done by you? Yeah. You're the one who did this CD. And, like, he just kept asking me the same question over and over again. And I'm like, I got to keep answering because it's Mike Tyson. I mean, I don't want to upset this guy because, you know, I've seen what happens. But what was your experience working with Mike Tyson?
Well, in this movie, I never worked with anybody because I'm the killer in the movie. You know, it's a parody on The Purge. Mm-hmm. So I'm the guy trying to get into the house.
Right.
So all my scenes, I was talking to nobody. I was like, I'm always by myself trying to kill Mike and his family. And to the last scene, then I'm with them. Okay. But the only time I worked with Mike, though, we did the BET Awards last year. We presented together. And literally, we're backstage, we're rehearsing, everything was funny. I go, oh, this is going to be funny, right? Literally, right as they're announcing the name, Mike looks over, he goes, they asked me to do this a couple years ago, and I really fucked it up. I went, what? And we walked on the stage, and Mike just said, screw the rehearsal, screw everything went over. I'm just doing my own thing. I'm on stage looking like Sidney Brady, like, I don't know where we're going with this.
What did Mike do?
He just started doing random stuff. I don't know. We were just talking. I was like, what? Like, if you see it again, I'm just standing there, and then I go, I don't know where we're going with this, Mike. Right? You know what I mean? And then he kind of got back in. We did one line that we rehearsed together, and then he went right back doing his own thing. And then he smacked me on the back of the head, like goofing off. Boom. And I was like, okay, he could really hurt me. Like, that hurt. You know what I mean? Then it was funny because when we do the award, we get backstage. I'm thinking the producer's going to be like, what happened, man? What happened, Mike? Blah, blah, everything we rehearsed. No. Every producer, great job, Mike. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming. Great job. I was like, no, what the fuck?
I guess you don't really want to scold Mike Tyson.
Yeah, and he even looked at me and I went, great job, Mike. Awesome. It was just a pleasure. It was an honor.
What about working with Mike Epps?
Was this our first movie together? I think it was, yeah. I think that's been long overdue. A lot of people, as far as like when I'm out touring, they always be like, man, you and Mike Epps together be hysterical. You know, because we're on tour a lot together. But, you know, we're in the movie together, but we're not. Because I'm never with him, you know, but I'm trying to kill him the whole movie.
Right, because I feel like in movies, Mike Epps is brilliant. You know, his stand-ups are cool, but I feel like he really shines in front of the camera.
He's great in front of the camera. Yeah. I love him. He's so funny.
Even like All About the Benjamins, like that.
Yeah.
You will never find a hairline like mine.
Yeah.
Like we were sitting there like saying that line over and over again.
Yeah.
Any crazy stories from doing the movie?
The only crazy story was we shot the movie at this big horse ranch, this big mansion. It was about an hour outside of Sacramento. Mm-hmm. There's nothing there. So literally, everybody had to stay at this Best Western. So you got this Best Western, and it was like a Best Western. What you think a Best Western is. Right. You got Mike Epps, you got me, you got Mike Tyson. You got all these actors.
So Mike Tyson was staying there too?
There's nowhere else to stay. There's one halfway decent hotel, and it was the Best Western.
It's a 3-star joint, yeah.
Right, and there's a big Mexican restaurant right next to it. And I was like, they treated us like kings because they were like, I can't believe you guys are here. But it was such a shithole. It's like, what are you going to do? Drive to Sacramento an hour? Up an hour back every day, or just stay at the Best Western 5 minutes from the set? So everybody just stay at the Best Western.
I feel you. What else you got coming up after this movie?
I just did my latest hour special called I Got My Associates.
Got My Associates.
I got my associates. But I did it myself. Like, I've done my last couple by myself, and then I've sold it. I've sold the last couple to Showtime. And then this one I did by myself, and that's probably the most frustrating part about this business is I can go audition for something and not get it and be like, okay, that guy's a good actor, or he killed that role. But as far as stand-up goes, I go, I'm pretty funny. I'm pretty secure on stage, and I pride myself on having fresh material, and I don't want people coming back to see me. So for this one, I showcased for Comedy Central and a couple other networks, and we did it at the Nokia, and just they all say the same thing. They go, he definitely has an audience, and he's great for his audience. We just don't know if he's right for our network. And I'm like, you guys are killing me. You know what I mean? So instead of just waiting on networks, I was like, I always tell my wife, I go, all right, gear up, let's do another one. I mean, we'll sell it to Showtime and it'll get distributed, but I don't want to be that guy 5 years from now where they're still saying Think Like a Man 2. You know what I mean? I want to make sure and I'm lucky enough I'm in a spot where I can finance my own stuff like that, my own specials. So this last one, we just did it. I'll probably get the final cut this week, and then we'll send it out to all the networks like we always do.
So that's basically the business is when coming up with these comedy specials, either the network comes in and films it all and finances it all, or you do it yourself and then you try to sell it to Showtime.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of comics that do it themselves.
Really?
Not too many. I mean, it's costly. It's not cheap. If you want to do it right, it's not cheap.
Because I remember there was a time when Kevin Hart was sort of like in the transitionary phase. And I remember he started dropping like all his YouTube videos, like, Chocolate Dropper and all this type of stuff. And I remember just based on that, he got all this interest, at least from, the community that I, the VladTV community, like, everyone was talking about everything else. The next thing you know, it kind of took off. You know, so I mean, you see people that say, fuck it, we'll just do it ourselves.
Well, I saw an interview with Mario Van Peebles before I was even in this business. And he said, when I first started getting money and paychecks, he goes, I went and bought film. I would film stuff. He goes, and other guys would get a car or get a chain or something. He goes, I always wanted to do my own stuff, own it. And I was like, nah, I'm in a position where I can do my own special. I can get with the editor and be like, take that out or put that in. You know what I mean? And so I can't complain when it comes out. Like my last one was called I Agree With Myself. We showed it to Showtime, and it's on iTunes and Amazon now, but that was all me. We rent out the Civic Center in Atlanta, and the sketches before and after, that was me hiring extras, and Romney came in, Malco, and did me a favor and got in one of the sketches with me. Didn't charge me anything.
Well, no, I mean, I could tell you that before VladTV, I did a few films. I did this documentary called Ghost Ride the Whip, which was picked up by Netflix, and it was on
Is that a Bay Area thing?
Yeah, it was a Bay Area documentary. I did an episode of American Gangster. Then I did this documentary about Corinne Steffens called Kiss and Tale. That actually made it on Showtime. And I could tell you every one of those projects, I got a few dollars up front, and I never saw a residual. Any of them. Yeah. And I'm sitting there and it was on Showtime, like the Kiss and Tell was on Showtime for like 3 years. And I'm sitting there going like, y'all still haven't recouped, huh? Like, really?
Yeah. Right.
Still, 3 years later, you still haven't recouped.
Right.
And that made me just say, fuck all this Hollywood shit. I'm going to start my own shit, my own platform. I'm going to own everything. I'm going to put it out, through YouTube.
Yeah.
And, years later now we have over 1 million, subscribers, and we do 1 million video views a day.
Yeah.
And that was because of the frustration of dealing with these studios and everything, where it's like, I just felt like I was getting robbed.
Yeah.
I
mean, I love this business. I wouldn't want to be in any other business. And but that is, to me, that's the most frustrating part, is like, I know I'm a good stand-up. I know I'm funny. And I know my material resonates, because I'm in the flyover states that gets neglected, I really think. Like, a lot of people just think it's LA and New York. And I resonate all across the country. You know what I mean? I'm like white and black. And I especially, I think at this time, where we're at as a society with this transition from, Barack to whoever's going to be the president, with the police cases and stuff. I always tell people, I go, if you watch the media, that's not what America's like. We're not at each other's throats. I said, come to my show and you'll see white and black people just laughing, having a good time, and just enjoying each other. Ain't nobody at each other's throats and mad like that. You know what I mean? It's just not like that. But if you watch the media, they'll make you think we're about to have a race war.
Sure.
And it's not like that at all.
Can you see Donald Trump getting elected?
I can.
Does it scare you
There's
a little bit?
people in my neighborhood. I'm in a very Republican neighborhood in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
And my wife, who's diehard Barack Obama, you know what I mean? She'll have, we'll have discussions about it, and There's some diehard Donald Trump people in our neighborhood.
Really?
Diehard.
Die Hard.
They're under the assumption like, yeah, we work hard and you're gonna penalize us. You know what I mean? We getting taxed. We're getting penalized for working hard, and these other people that don't work hard, they gonna get the tax breaks. And that's not saying that's the right way to think, but I've heard that discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when they brought up the whole David Duke, KKK thing, and Donald Trump's like, well, I got to do some more research to really, before I make my statement about the
What
KKK.
is going on with all the early, you got the OJ knife coming back from the 90s, and David Duke all of a sudden resurfaces from the 90s. I'm like this, where you at, Vanilla Ice? We waiting on you, baby.
Wait, Vanilla Ice was just in, The Ridiculous Six?
There you go. There's this resurgence.
He played Mark Twain.
You know what I mean?
Which I thought was actually brilliant.
Yeah, he was good. He was good.
A hip-hop Mark Twain.
Yeah, I've met him a few times. He's always been real cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, but it is a little bit scary if Trump gets elected, just because of his policies against Muslims, Mexicans.
But nobody's moving. It's the same thing when all the redneck guys I knew was like, if Barack is like, I'm out. They're still here. They're still hunting on the weekends. I go, everybody's saying they're going to move Donald Trump gets elected. No, you're not. You're going to be upset, but ain't nobody moving.
You had white friends that said, I'm moving out the country if Obama becomes president.
Not white friends. Friends of
friends.
Okay. Not my white friends. Friends of friends that I heard this. You know what I mean? I did go to a pretty redneck high school.
Yeah. I feel like Obama did a pretty good job. I mean, if you think about where the economy was when he first took office,
all I got to do is go to the gas station.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's $1 and something. I'm good with that.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, because the economy was fucked up when he took office. Because I remember I was launching VladTV right around the same time, and I remember how it was rough back then.
Well, that's what he said. He goes, you guys are acting like 2008 was just great when I came in. You know what I mean? Now that he's leaving, they're like, how messed up we are. He goes, did you guys forget what it was like in 2008 when I got elected? So.
What about Hillary Clinton? You see her winning?
I can see Hillary winning. You know what I mean?
What about Bernie?
I don't think Bernie's going to win.
I don't think Bernie's going to win either.
I don't think he's going to
I just interviewed Killer Mike, who's like...
that's his guy.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders' biggest supporter, And, he compares his policies to like Martin Luther King's and stuff like that. And Bernie did a lot for, the struggle, I feel like, early on in his career. I just don't see him as president.
I think John McCain ran 8 years too early.
Oh, that's what it was?
I think he could run now, and he would get that Republican nomination, and he had a shot. He would have a shot to beat Hillary.
Right, because Mitt Romney, I don't think, really had.
He never had a shot.
Had a shot.
No. But John McCain ran 8 years too early.
I remember I saw a meme that said it was like a meme of Hillary Clinton and like some little girl, and she was saying like, what does it feel, if you become president, what does it feel to sit in the same chair where your husband got a blowjob at?
Right. That's so awful. I did a joke 8 years ago about, can you imagine if Hillary got elected when she was going against Barack? And I go, and Bill gets back in the White House and he ain't got to do shit, just hang out. Like, let's Playboy East. It's going to be crazy when she goes to dang Russia or North Korea to negotiate
Is she
something.
gone yet?
She out? Okay.
Party time. So you have some stand-ups coming up?
I'm always on the road.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Always.
Like, how many shows do you do in a year?
I could work every weekend if I wanted to. I have to call my agent for weekends off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you could be doing, 104 shows?
I got to do more than that.
More than that?
Because, comedy clubs usually Thursday through Sunday.
Okay.
I'm usually adding shows at this point, so we're doing between 8 and 10 on a weekend. 4 days, we'll probably do between 8 and 10 shows. And then when you do theater shows, like, that's just a Friday, Saturday. Just depends. But me working one day on a weekend is me working the weekend in my eyes, whether it's one show or two shows.
So you do what, 200 shows?
Probably, at least
a
year. You know what I mean?
I'm sure a lot of comics would wish they were in that position.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
There was a time where I wasn't working a lot. I remember going to Asheville, North Carolina for $400. No plane ticket. And I went. This is like 2007.
Not that long ago.
I was just like, I wasn't working that summer. It was a slow summer, and I was like, I got to work. It wasn't even about the money. I was like, I just got to get on stage, man. I was going crazy.
I mean, do you feel that the movies are necessary in terms of...
Movies help tremendously.
So when you're in a movie, your bookings go up?
Oh, without question.
Okay.
Without question. We're in the age where people want to see, you got the diehard stand-up fans, but then also people want to see stars. And that's why you see a lot of guys that aren't stand-ups doing stand-up. Like Steve-O wasn't a stand-up, and now he's doing stand-up. You know what I mean? Marlon never did stand-up until like 4 or 5 years ago. Now he's doing stand-up. I mean, there's money out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Dave Chappelle went back to stand-up after the Chappelle show. I mean, Eddie Murphy's supposed to be doing stand-up.
I don't think he's coming back.
You don't think he's coming back?
I think it's just a big rumor. That's my opinion, but I don't see him coming back.
I mean, he did that little bit about Bill Cosby.
Yeah, but I don't see him. What was the last, 89? You're
Yeah.
going 30 years, you haven't done stand-up. That's a long time to just all of a sudden get the itch.
Well, no, because I remember I interviewed Charlie Murphy a while back, and I was like, do you think that Eddie will ever do stand-up? And he goes, well, no, because he's going to be whack in the beginning. You know what I mean? He's like, it's going to take him time to get his chops back up.
That's right. And Chris Tucker, it took him a few years.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember I saw Chris Tucker when he first came back to stand-up, and he was not that good. Like, I haven't seen him recently, but I remember when I first saw him, it was like, and he's brilliant in movies.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's not easy. It's not an easy job.
Do you think stand-up is harder than doing movies?
I think stand-up is in you. You can't teach somebody to be a stand-up.
So if I want to do stand-up,
don't take a stand-up class. That's the only thing people I tell me. They're like, you got any advice for a stand-up? I go, don't take any classes, and never pay to get on stage. Because if you're paying somebody for a stand-up class, you're paying to get on stage. I go, look at all the great stand-ups. They tell their life story. Someone can't tell you what your story is. You just got to get on stage and bomb as part of your story, like taking your lumps, but just keep getting on stage. You don't need no coach. You don't need somebody to tell you how to deliver a joke, the proper way to format a joke. You know what I mean?
right?
Do it your own way. You know what I mean? A lot of people told me, I had an agent I had to let go when I first started stand-up because he was like, yo, you can't be doing this black-white stuff like that. He goes, black people will never pay to see a white guy, like by himself. They'll pay as an ensemble, like me with a couple, like me, Mike Epps, Kevin Hart, let's say. They'll pay for that. They'll never pay to see Gary Owen, black people. And literally the month after he said that, Eminem came out. And then Justin Timberlake took off. And then here comes Robin Thicke. And I'm thinking, and then here I am. I'm like, really? You know what I mean?
But they're not comedians though.
Right, but I'm saying that still black people paying to see them.
Black people paying to see
They were
them.
more like, and that was the thing. I was like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not the case. I'm proof.
Absolutely. Congratulations.